What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Ketchpalia again, talking about making money doing some real estate deals online. If you're just tuning into the channel for the first time, I'm Joe Ketchpalia. I've been a real estate investor and an agent for close to 20 years now. Can't wait for the next couple months to go by so I can say actually just 20 years, not close. But in any case, my day job, I spend my time helping investors mostly find properties, but also sell them here in San Antonio. Um, but lately, I've been spending some time trying to make some money online, buying. I'm spending a lot of time on Lofty first. It's just the site that I was attracted to out of all of them, that provide these fractional pieces of real estate, where you're buying individual tokens that represent some small piece of ownership, and a random property that somebody has is invested in and is listed on the platform. Uh, as I've mentioned, I'm learning a lot about the platform themselves, how they work. I'm trying to just share some of that in real time. Certainly not an. These are actually being sold on the blockchain. I'm not a crypto guy. I barely understand what that even means. But I am, I feel really confident saying I'm an expert in real estate investing in general. I have a long track record of that and helping people do that. And so I've been trying to just share some of the due diligence that I like to do on properties themselves. Um, but in addition to that, yesterday I put out a video where I was trying to take advantage of sort of the inefficiency of investing on this site in general, where it looks like it looks like people misprice a lot of the properties, where they have no current rental yield because there's no tenant. And you can see a number of the properties that I purchased have no rental yield currently. I think that we'll see, uh, some of them, the token prices, this says I have $500 worth of it, but I only spent $280 on those tokens. Similar story here. I think I spent 280. Uh, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe a little more on these ones, but my thesis on that is these are not properties that I thought made a ton of sense as actual investments, but I think that there's a real value to be had from buying significantly below what the real estate would sell for. Um, One thing I think it's a little bit interesting to see that one of the first ones that I bought that was not for that reason, was this 5401 Odom Ave. It's being operated as a midterm rental. But they actually, I think I bought these tokens. You can look at the order book and see. Um, I think this was me. I think I bought 23 tokens at $35. I thought it was both a decent discount, but also they had been renting it out. And so I was surprised to find out that they just decided, the owners or the token holders um, decided that we're going to put this one up for sale. And so, we'll see how big of a discount there really was and if I'm make a profit on that one. But one counterpoint that I wanted to share, this is a property, I didn't buy any of these tokens. Um, but this is one very similar, it's in Cleveland, Ohio. It wasn't collecting rent. It's very similar to some of the ones that I got that I did purchase. But this one has an agreement for sale right now. Um, I think that they voted to list it for sale. Do they have all the details on here? I don't want to share anything that they're not sharing on here. Did they put it in here maybe? Um, so they had listed it. The house canary price was 132, which is one that we've been looking at. The actual purchase price that it's under contract for is 95,000, which, after commissions, closing costs, unpaid bills, which is one that, I need to think more about when I'm looking at this value. There was this cost that they had to pay, cleaning and sewer scope for the buyer. It ended up being, a net price of 84,000, broken down. They're going to get to redeem their tokens now when this liquidates at $28.34. You can see you know, yes, it's more than, I don't think I've paid that amount for any of these ones that I was trying to buy at a discount. I bought some at $25. At, um, I bought some at 26.50. I don't think I went higher than, I think some of them at 26.99. But, if any of those sold at these sort of economics, I'd do okay. I'd make a small profit. And, if it sold, this year even, um, it's not a terrible, return to make in that period of time. But this was actually surprising to me, that it sold for so much less. One, so much less than what it was originally purchased for on the platform, quite a bit less than the House Canary valuation. I tried to go and look at Zillow and Homes.com and Redfin and some of the other sites that value it, but because it's an active listing, and I think also the market maybe doesn't share. I think their MLS just must not share data the same way we do here in Texas. Um, I didn't actually I couldn't find what it said that it should have been before it ended up getting listed, and for I think they had listed at 110 at some point. Um, so in any case, I think that this is a good counterpoint, right? Like where I was expecting that, if you're buying them so cheap compared to the original purchase price, and compared to House Canary value, that I thought you'd make a better return. Now this one, if you bought them at those prices, you'd be fine. But I mean, you can see, I mean, there are people even all these ones that are 49.15. I believe this is actually the redemption. Um, and so there's not people actually buying and selling these for this price anymore. I don't believe. Um, I think these are people that are redeeming them, and for some reason, Lofty accounts for it at that price. But you can see, even yesterday, people were buying them up where there was a little bit of a money to be made by buying them for that price and then redeeming it. Um, so I think it supports the theory that I have that there's some opportunity for, some extra value, but maybe it's not as great as I was hoping it would be. Although I really, Cleveland, I think I did pick some up in Akron, right? Did I? Yeah. I mean, I was a little more hesitant on this market than the Chicago ones. Even more hesitant than on the Memphis one. You know, I think there's certain markets where it is just tough, to get your money back over the long run. Even apparently, even with the discounts, right? I mean, like they are. If I had bought these at 25 or 26 or even 27, I'd be getting my money back plus a little bit. I mean, but the goal for this strategy, where I'm trying to buy deep discounts, is that it's actually a deep discount, right? Like I want if they were redeeming it like $35 or something, I'd be really happy with that return on a 25, or excuse me, in a short time period. I mean, they have to vote to sell it. If I held this not making any money for a few years and then did that, obviously I'd be very unhappy with it. Or if I had been one of the people that bought those tokens for $50, I mean, that I'd be crushed. So in any case, I wanted to share that. I think it's a good counterpoint to what I was talking about yesterday. I think it's interesting that one that I bought, that had some rental yield at the time, um, is all of a sudden, they're just going to list it for sale. But I think it's probably that there's some real value to be had here. At least I thought that when I was looking at it in my first video on this property. Um, in any case, I'm going to keep it short today. Just wanted to share some of the updates, some of the new stuff that I found out. I just thought this was extremely interesting how this works. That that it's going to make me question the house canary value quite a bit more. And maybe I'll do a little bit additional due diligence. Part of what I think is probably going on here, um, is the condition of the home. Any time we're looking at, any valuations that aren't really looking at the home itself, where somebody's walked into that home and given, their opinion, you're going to be missing some aspects of like what the condition really looks like, how good it shows, how, what that neighborhood feels like in real life. We can do our best to try to gauge some of that stuff, but it's tough to know. Um, it looks like at some point there was a $105,000 offer. That's interesting. One of the things I'm going to have to start doing is making sure that I'm actively paying attention to when there are, votes to sell or to do different things on the properties that I own tokens of. I think what happened with Odom is that the vote happened in between the time I placed my order and when the order actually got filled. And so, at least I didn't notice any notification about it where I had an opportunity to jump in on that vote. And so that's another interesting thing, because that was the one where I had, didn't use my wallet. I had used an ACH purchase, and it took a long time. That's a good reason, again, to want to have those instant purchases. In any case, that's all I wanted to update you with today. If you have any questions, I'd love to try to answer them. Obviously, as I've mentioned many times, I'm very new to these platforms. I'm really learning. This was a great example for me to see, um, just how bad some of these can go, and some of the markets where I've always known that, right? And I've mentioned a lot of times I've tried to avoid certain markets, but it is, you can really get hurt even on a cheap home in a market like that. In any case, until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.